Greetings from South Korea. I am Adang News AI anchor. Here is the news making headlines today. With the government's emergency response framework now in place, President Lee Jae-myung says the focus must now shift to execution, as South Korea braces for possible energy supply disruptions stemming from the Middle East conflict. President Lee chaired an emergency economic meeting with relevant ministries at the Blue House on Thursday, the second such meeting since the conflict began last month. The meeting came a day after the government announced the launch of an emergency economic task force, led by Prime Minister Kim Min-seok. Lee delivered a direct message to the public, urging them to help conserve energy, particularly electricity. He also called on gas stations to cooperate with the government's price cap on petroleum products. 2 weeks after implementing domestic oil price caps, the government has set new bi-weekly price caps for gasoline, diesel, and household kerosene, saying they will be raised slightly starting on Friday, in response to sharply rising international oil prices. Despite the increases, the government noted that expanded tax cuts, also set to take effect Friday and last until May 31st, will help absorb even steeper spikes, effectively limiting the increase in gasoline prices by 65 won per liter, and diesel prices by 87 won. In addition, the government will enforce export restrictions on Friday for naphtha, a key feedstock widely used in petrochemical and other industries, particularly in the production of plastics. The government added that it will closely monitor items vulnerable to price fluctuations and provide necessary support. Iran says it may allow stranded South Korean ships to pass through the blockaded Strait of Hormuz, but on the condition of direct coordination with Tehran. Speaking in Seoul today, Iranian Ambassador Saeed Equiti said Tehran views South Korea as a non-hostile nation and is willing to allow its ships to transit the Strait of Hormuz. The ambassador stated that safe passage would require the submission of specific vessel data and direct prior coordination with the Iranian military. He also warned that this relies on South Korea keeping its distance from U.S.-led military operations, expressing deep appreciation that Seoul has not yet joined Washington's maritime coalition. A Seoul official told reporters Thursday that the ambassador's remarks were not conveyed through government channels. 26 South Korean commercial vessels and nearly 180 crew members currently remain trapped in the vital waterway. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development has issued a stark warning. The global economy's resilience is being severely tested by the crisis in the Middle East. According to the OECD's March Interim Economic Outlook on Thursday, South Korea's economic growth for 2026 is now projected at 1.7%. That is a 0.4 percentage point drop from the organization's previous forecast in December. Inflation in South Korea is also expected to worsen, with the forecast adjusted to 2.7%, up 0.9 percentage point. This domestic downturn runs parallel to a broader global stagnation, as it's reflected in the Global Economic Outlook. While the OECD maintained its global growth forecast for 2026 at 2.9%, it initially expected an upward revision to 3.2% until Operation Epic Fury in late February. The White House has reaffirmed that the U.S. is still moving to raise its global tariff rate to 15%, even as the war with Iran shakes energy markets and adds new pressure to the global economy. Speaking at a Politico event, White House Trade Advisor Peter Navarro said the higher rate is already in process. That comes despite a Supreme Court ruling that struck down President Donald Trump's earlier reciprocal tariff regime. Navarro said the ruling was the best possible outcome, arguing it blocked only one tariff route, while leaving other trade tools intact. That is all from me today. Thank you for watching.